Welcome to the Full Court Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Sheldon Moore. And Dejounte Murray gets traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. I feel like it was going to happen eventually. Like, I've always said I would trade Trey Young over Dejounte Murray because Dejounte Murray has the two-way capabilities. He's a good offensive player, but he's probably one of the best defensive guards in the league. But the Atlanta Hawks, they kept Trey Young over him. And because DeJounte Murray has a good contract. I think he's getting paid 114 for like 4 years. And that's only like 36 a year. So that type of contract is pretty movable. And it looks like the Atlanta Hawks, it looks like they're kind of trying to go into a rebuild, but trying to still stay competitive. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the Atlanta Hawks is probably one of the most mediocre teams in the NBA. They're they're never good enough to get to like the far in the playoffs, but they could potentially upset you in the first round depending on who they face. Obviously, they made the conference finals a couple of years ago. Then ever since then, they really just been getting bounced in the first round. And the DeJounte Murray and the Trey Young experiment, like when the trade first happened 2 years ago, I was always thinking like, okay, I see it, but then it's like I really gotta like watch it play to see how it unfolds because you got two guys that was ball dominant because when they traded for DeJounte Murray, he was coming off an all-star type year. Like he was really good with San Antonio his last year there. And having two players that need the ball, it's like I don't know how that works. And Trey Young, in my opinion, I always thought he should have played all ball, but he really never played all ball. It was kind of like DeJounte Murray was playing all ball to an extent, having him shoot a lot of threes, but he's not even the best. He's not even the best shooter out of the two. He can shoot, but he's just not a good shooter. And if Trey Young, maybe he could use his all ball capabilities, which he really didn't, I think it could have worked. But and have DeJounte Murray be like the primary point guard, it probably could have worked. But Trey Young, he needs the ball in his hands 90% of the time. So it just didn't work out. But they kept Trey Young. Obviously, Trey Young is like an exciting player, shoots three, basically shoots logo threes, one of the best passing guards in the league. And they got Dyson Daniels back, Larry Nance Jr., EJ Liddell, and a 2025 first round pick from the Lakers, and a 2027 first round pick. Me personally, I think it's Dyson Daniels that they like, a defensive guard, and those picks. Nowadays, picks are valuable. Picks are very valuable now. So they rather take that 2025 Lakers pick because maybe they think the Lakers might be a little bit, they might be decent, but not like winning like 50 games. So that pick's gonna be late first round anyway. So that doesn't really matter. But the Atlanta Hawks, to an extent, I really have no idea what they're doing. Like me personally, I probably would have traded Trey Young, but he has a big contract, so that's kind of hard to move. And DeJounte Murray has a favorable contract, so that's easier to move. So I get it; it's understandable, but there's nothing wrong with it. Now on the Pelican side, I think this is a really good move. You finally get another defensive guard to replace like when Lonzo was there in New Orleans for like what was it like a couple of years because they haven't had a good defensive guard since. And now you got a guard that could go out there, get you 20 points, and that can play defense. He's going to be the primary point guard now. Because last year, CJ McCollum, he's really not a point guard. Like, he would be obviously passing, ball handling, and all that. But it was really Zion that was the point guard of the team. Like, it was point Zion. But Zion, I think he played pretty good, like, as the point guard sometimes. And having CJ, DeJounte, Zion Williamson there, that's your core. Now, Brandon Ingram, on the other hand, I don't know what they want to do for them. Like, they're trying to really trade him because they don't want to give him max extension. And I get it. Brandon Ingram wasn't good last year. There was like incidents with him, with the organization, with the coaches and all that. So I get it. But The Pelicans team, as of right now, I think they're a scary team, and they could make some noise in the West. Obviously, they was 49-33 last year. You know, and basically in the East, that's basically like top 5. And in the West, that was basically a play-in spot. So it shows how good the West is. But it really just all depends if Zion is healthy. But Zion was actually healthy last year. He was healthy. It's just he hurt his hamstring in the playing game. And I mean, it's unfortunate that that happened. But like just having another scoring guard just helps the Pelicans out on the defensive end because now you can have Dejounte, you could throw out Herb Jones, if Brandon Ingram does get traded. I believe he will. Zion and sometimes even Trey Murphy, they want to run a small ball type lineup. So they could do it. They really can do it. And it's just another ball handler. Oh, and another thing, not putting Brandon Ingram in the trade, I think that's crazy. Because if I'm the Atlanta Hawks, I know you just drafted Zachariah Richardson, and you do got Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter. But if I'm Atlanta Hawks, I'm asking for Brandon Ingram. Like Larry Nance, he's on an aspiring deal. Dyson Daniels, he has potential. I get all that. But there's no way you be like, you know what? Y'all can keep Brandon Ingram. Y'all can keep him. And we'll just take some of these role players off your hands. No, I'm asking for Brandon Ingram back. They didn't do that. So now you could potentially keep him and make the Pelicans even better. The Pelicans are a sneaky team. Like, they can, if Zion is healthy, I think they can actually make it to a second round. Obviously, they got swept last year in the playoffs by the Thunder, but Zion wasn't there, and Brandon Ingram was bad. CJ McCollum was bad, too. But Brandon Ingram, who's supposed to be your best player at that time, he just played bad. And if Zion stays healthy, Dejounte Murray, he's pretty healthy. And if Brandon Ingram does stay and CJ McCollum, that's a decent little core 4. But they still need a big. They need to get a big in free agency probably or in the trade market. Obviously, they got the rookie Messi, but I don't know how much he's gonna play. So we gotta wait and see on that. But overall, Pelicans, I think they did a good job. Like trading the grades wise, I think I would give the Atlanta Hawks a C. Like, you did get some players, you did get some draft picks. You probably could have wished you got a better player, but maybe they just didn't want Brandon Ingram having to have to deal with potentially having to give him a max contract next summer. They didn't want to have that on their hands. And I give the Pelicans, I give them a B+. Like, they still got work to do, but just getting another guard, I think that's good for them. I truly think that's good for them. And the Pelicans were not good in clutch time last year. Saw a stat saying they were 0-22 entering the fourth quarter. And now you having a guard that you can either have it go to Zion Wilson, who's basically unstoppable in the paint, Dejounte Murray, who you need to hit like a clutch shot, or he could get to the rack. CJ McCollum, you have that now. So just having different type of playmakers and just different type of scores on your team, that helps the Pelicans, and that's going to help them go a long way. And the Pelicans, yes, I think it is time for them to win, but at the same time, is there really pressure on them to win? Like, the Western Conference is stacked. You got the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks, still the Clippers, depending on Paul George, the Suns. You still gotta respect KD, Book and Bill. The Lakers even still. Memphis is coming back. Like, even the Rockets, they won 41 games. So it's stacked, and someone's in the Western Conference is not gonna make it. But I believe with this Dejounte Murray trade, I think they're trying to win. I think they see that if Zion Williamson is healthy, we have a chance of winning. So I feel like they got a good trade out of it to the Hawks. I think they got a good trade out of it. But overall, Dejounte Murray getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, it's a really good move. And we just got to wait and see in the season how it unfolds. So that is it for the Full Court Entertainment podcast, reacting to Dejounte Murray getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. I will see y'all next time when there are breaking news and reactions, or next time I do the podcast. So see y'all later. Peace.